Yes guys, welcome back to another video. I've been meaning to do this one for a while, but I thought, seeing as it is probably the most answered question, most asked question I get in person, on Instagram, on TikTok, etc, is how do you start a modelling career? How did you get into it? How did I get into it? So I think it's a video I should have addressed a long time ago, but no time like the present, so we're going to do it now. First of all, I think it's not as hard / as difficult as people might perceive it to be and think, oh, you know what, like you have to be beautiful, you have to be ripped, you have to be shredded, blah 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 blah. You have to have great hairline, good beard, whatever. You don't have that, do you have tattoos? So your current appearance, so now with how accepting we are as a society, there's curve categories, there's petite, there's LGBTQ, there's transgender models, there's everything, which is fantastic. It means that if you're somebody that would like to get into modelling, you like fashion, you see things on my social media and you think, oh, I'd love to do that, but you might not be confident in yourself, or you might be doubting that there could be a possibility for you. I think that now is probably the best time ever that the majority of audiences is being accepted. There's a lot of openness in the industry now, which is fantastic. So current appearance, I think there's a category for a lot of different types of people, so I'm going to skip past that because I think the other parts will lead to whether you think that you're in the right category to do modelling, or whether it's for you. I'll talk about the ups and downs, things that have been good for me, things that have been bad for me, tips and tricks, and how to start. So first of all, there is hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of photographers out there. There is also an opportunity for you to get in touch with any photographer and say, look, I'd love to do a test shoot. I'd love some direction. Photographers are really, really good. I will put a link in the description to the person that scouted me. So I got scouted on a train home from a night out. I was pretty drunk. I was working at HSBC at the time, and a guy said, oh, you should be a model. I was on the train, I was thinking, sorry? You don't think about things like that, especially I didn't anyway at the time. And he said, oh look, can I get your number or whatever? I was like, don't really give my number out to people, but my Instagram's public. Follow me on Instagram, we can go from there. Anyway, follow me on Instagram. He had over 100,000 followers, amazing portfolio, amazing shots, obviously a very talented individual. I spoke to my girlfriend about it. I was I don't really know it's for me, I don't really think it's for me. And he was messaging me in August, and my girlfriend kind of persuaded me to go and meet him, and that was in November, day after my birthday. Went to Canary Wharf, done a shoot all around Canary Wharf with him. He then sent the photos straight to an agency, which was Super at the time, and they signed me the same day. He said, can you come on the train with me to Super, they want to sign you. So I went on the train with him, signed the paperwork, and then that was the end of November. So January, February, March. By March, 3 months later, I was earning enough and had a stable client base that I could actually leave my full-time job and do this full-time. It was a huge risk. I'll talk about whether that's the right risk for you or not later on. But yeah, it was a huge risk for me at the time. I had a very good job at that time at Mercedes because I'd left HSBC, I was at Mercedes. Loved my job, loved the people I worked with. It was fantastic, and it was something I was very passionate about. So I had to walk away from one passion to pursue something that I wasn't actually that passionate about. I just knew that it was a risk that I should take at that stage of my life because I didn't know if I could take that risk later on. I didn't have any dependents, I didn't have any kids, I didn't really have many bills at the time either. So I thought there's no better time than right now to take this risk, and luckily for me, I'm going into my 5th year now of doing it full time. So obviously it was the right decision for me. I've had unbelievable experiences, met unbelievable people, been to countries I've never been to before. So I've had a fantastic career, luckily for me. The other thing, research agencies. So I'll also put a link in the description of a website where you can go through and look at all the agencies in the UK and you can weigh them up, pros and cons, which ones you like. If you are struggling to find one that you might not know, oh, they're good for me, go on their main board and have a look at the boys or girls, if you're a girl watching, and go through there and have a look and see, does anybody look similar to you? Are they kind of the same vibe? Do they model possibly things that you think that you could model, and then go with that agency. If you want some advice or you're a bit stuck, feel free to DM me and I'll happily give you some pointers. I'm currently with Nevs. They're a bit more of a commercial agency, which is much better suited to me than Super, because I've got tattoos. I don't get the high fashion jobs because of that. And since I've been with Nevs, which is coming up 2 years this year, I think. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2 years. I've had clients I've never had before. I love the team. I love the owner. They're a fantastic agency. So obviously you can look at Nevs if you think that Nevs could be for you. A lot of my friends are with Nevs, and that's not the reason why I went there, but it was mainly because they're my friends. They're honest with me. They tell me, right, this is good, blah, blah, blah. These are the people I work with. I watch their stories and I see, okay, their clients I haven't worked with before. Is that because of my previous agency? So that was a decision I made. I made a switch to them and it's been a really, really good decision. Then applying. So if you'd done the first steps that I said, which was a test shoot, you will then have a good range of photos from one test shoot. And then if you meet the photographer, say, would you mind taking some agency photos for me? So they'll know what that is. They're called polars or digitals, depends on what people call them. It's literally just a dead straight photo, a profile, and then another profile and some 3/4 angles. With a plain background, preferably if you can take some with your top off as well, just for an option for them. Obviously, if you're a girl, don't be doing no top off stuff. Might not be very good. I don't know how girls do their polars, if I'm honest. So they might do with their underwear on. So I have no idea. But then send them through to the agencies that you want to speak to. Apply on the website, or even find the email addresses or the social media. Message them. Try and organise meeting people in person, because a lot of the time photos are good, but being in person is better. You'll be able to sell yourself, you'll be able to show your personality, and that's a big thing in modelling, is your personality. Being confident, being able to talk to people, being respectful. Obviously, you've got to understand, like, as a model, your job is relatively easy. You have to turn up, look presentable, be polite, put in effort, give it your all. And that's, you in theory, you're taking off clothes and then you're trying to sell clothes for clients. And there's people there doing photos, editing. There's so much that goes on in the background in regards to their daily job. So try and make it as easy as possible for them. Try and make it fun for them. Bring good energy. And yeah, just make sure that when you go to work, remember this is some people's 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. And if you're a model, sometimes you don't work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. So make sure you come in with a good energy and try and brighten up, obviously, everyone's day. The next thing is tips and tricks. So obviously that is a tip. Be energetic, as I say. Be respectful. Other tips and tricks: be well groomed. Make sure you look presentable. Don't turn up somewhere scruffy. You've got to remember that technically you are your own brand when you're a model. So how you present yourself on social media, how you do videos, for example, what you engage in on social media, how you, like, everything that you do is a representation of yourself. So a lot of clients might book me and say, oh, I've seen him on his story, he's so energetic, he's crazy, he loves partying, blah, blah, blah. Like, there is elements of me that, like, yeah, I do like to party, I like to have a good time, but I'm very conscious of what I put in my stories, based on, I know that clients will look at my social media and say, oh, what type of person is he? What does he get up to? What does he do? And people do look at things like that. So tip is obviously make sure you're very presentable on social media. Content, pump out as much content as you can. Try and gain your social media as much as possible. YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter. Like, just be so active on socials, reels, etc. Really show off what you're doing, personality, fashion, whatever. The more content you pump out, the better quality of your content as well. The more engaged and more likely you are to book clients off the back of that. You'll get a lot of inquiries through your social media that you can pass your agency, and then you can get that booked in. So other tips and tricks. I think, yeah, that is the main thing. Personality, confidence. Confidence will come over time, actually. Let me obviously address that. So I obviously am a confident person. I've always been quite confident. I've always had a very strong belief system in myself that I can do anything I put my mind to. The first time I stepped into ASOS with Leanne and done my first test shoot, done a lot of things in my life, but I don't think I've ever been as nervous as that day. There was no pressure on me. I had a full-time job. There was no, as I said, no pressure to be, oh, I have to make this work. It's life or death situation. Like, I have to make this work. It's my be all and end all. But yeah, I don't know why, I was super nervous, felt really stiff, didn't know really what I was doing, had obviously some direction, but I was like, this is so out of my comfort zone. And doing that, and then getting in with ASOS, and then obviously my career taking off, that one situation made me chase everything I've ever done to push myself outside my comfort zone, run a marathon, something I've got planned for next year. Any jobs that I do, anything I ever think about doing, I think the best thing that ever happened to you was when you was the most uncomfortable. So you have to get used to being uncomfortable. You have to get used to being a little bit out of your depth. And you'll find that that's when the best things happen. If you just put yourself in a situation you don't really want to be in, but you know the outcome could be amazing, that's when obviously everything kind of clicks together and works really well for you. Other thing I put down, thoughts on modelling full time. So you have to be mentally bulletproof, let me tell you that. So I don't know what I'm earning 1 month to the next. So somebody might not like the idea of that. I can have absolutely like rocketing months where I'll earn a substantial amount of money, but I might have nothing in a month. I might have worked that month, but clients might not have paid, so it might not go into next month. So there is no such thing as a stable income in modelling. And if you're somebody that is very relaxed, has a very strong mindset, like myself, I'm very much like everything will be all right. Even if it's not, that means it's not the end. So in regards to modelling full time, I think to start off with, have a pot of savings, just in case. If you want to pursue it full time, I would have a backup just in case you do have a couple quiet months when you're first starting out, because I was very lucky that my modelling career took off really quickly, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen for everyone. I know I was very fortunate and I was very lucky to have the start of the modelling career that I did. And yeah, I'll be honest, I spent most of the money. Went to all the countries I've never been to before, took my girlfriend away to some amazing places. I bought things I've never been able to buy before. I bought things for my family, my brothers, and my friends, and I just done loads of stuff with everything I've ever wanted to do that I couldn't do, I did. Got it out of my system in my first year of modelling, and then obviously COVID happened. So in regards to that, I had a long period in COVID where I didn't earn any money, nothing. Luckily for me, I set myself up as a limited company. I have a very good accountant. He technically furloughed me, so I was able to get back, I think it was like £1,000 a month. But obviously I had some jobs that were still coming in, so I was very lucky to get a shaving campaign that paid really well. Like I managed just to scrimp and scrape my way through lockdown without any obviously work, because we couldn't work. There were some at-home shoots, but it wasn't really working. I didn't really like it. It wasn't really my thing. It just, yeah, the at-home shoots, let's just forget about them. They was not fun, not for me anyway. Setting yourself up tax-wise. So the way I did it was I don't really know how I really thought of this. I just knew that I was earning a lot of money at the start, and I was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with this. And I knew that there's got to be a way where I don't have to get absolutely bitten with a massive fat tax bill. I managed to find an accountant, signed up with him whilst I was still at Mercedes, told him my situation. I'll put, if you want his details, are you looking for an accountant, drop me a DM. I'm not going to put his details in here in case he doesn't want to get bombarded with inquiries, but drop me a message on socials and I'll give you his details, no problem, and I'll give him the heads up. But Andy set me up as a limited company straight away. He then set me up as a payee on that limited company. He then put me so I technically pay myself a wage for my company, which is minimum wage, and then I don't pay any personal tax. I only pay 19% corporation tax on the profit of my business. So being a model, you can pretty much expense most things, because anything that goes towards my appearance. So I do my food shopping at Costco because I can then expense it. All my supplements for the gym, before I was with VHP Labs, I used to expense them. Haircut, if I go to the dentist, travel, clothes, yeah, pretty much anything to do with your appearance or anything well-being. Because you're a model, that can be an expense. If I buy a watch, I can use it for a shoot. There's always a way I can expense things because of the type of category that I come under in regards to business. I then set myself up as VAT registered, so then I can charge clients VAT on top of my payments. I can then claim VAT back on things that obviously have value-added tax, fuel, like from when I go to Costco and do food shopping, etc. So I really suggest if you do look at doing modelling full time, get an accountant in place, speak to them, explain the situation, tell them roughly what you be. The more honest you are with your accountant, the better your life will be. I promise you that. Don't try and say, oh, I'm going to earn X amount, but you don't, or I'm not going to earn this. Like, just be so clear cut with them, and I promise you your life will be so much less hassle. So that is how I suggest setting yourself up tax wise if you look at doing modelling full time. And then highs and lows. So highs and lows, as I said before, lockdown was a massive low, lost loads of money, didn't earn a lot of money either. Top man went under, went into administration. I was owed quite a substantial amount of money from them, which I didn't get. I got a portion of it because they got bought out by ASOS. So ASOS paid a portion of that money that was owed, and then the administration paid a tiny portion of that remainder. So I probably wouldn't even say I got half of what I was owed, probably less than that. So that is something that was a big concern. It's the first and only thing that's ever happened to me like that in modelling, so I don't assume it will happen again, touch wood or whatever. But yeah, that was just one couple lows in that situation. And obviously the money inconsistency, so that is a low and a high. You can have months that is life-changing, and you can have months that are scary. And I think to look after yourself mentally in them situations, you need to really understand, okay, these are my outgoings. If I have a bad month, do I have enough to cover them for I'd say have a savings account for like 3 months worth, just in case. But when you do earn the big money and you do have a big campaign, or you do get a massive commercial, look to invest it, look to put it into places that it's gonna grow, because obviously bank accounts aren't really doing much for anyone at the moment. Even though the interest rates have gone up slightly, it's not anything that's going to change your life. So learn a lot about different industries. I understand that this career can be very much like a footballer's career in regards to the time span. You can earn a lot of money up to a certain amount of time. Obviously, look after yourself, get facials, make sure you're getting regular dentist checkups, make sure your health is in order, because the more you invest in your health and well-being, the longer you will look as good as you can, so the longer your career will go on for. I would love to be modelling into my 40s if I can, if I manage to not age bad and I look good. But I know that I'm doing everything before that to make sure that when I get into that situation where I get into the latter stages of my career, so we say, that I will look 100%. I will make sure that the things I've done when I was 21 up until now have built a foundation for me to be healthy and be in good shape, or be how I personally want to look as a person later down the line, so that I can maximise how long my career goes on for. But other than that, I don't think there's too much more. I've been going on for 19 minutes nearly. So yeah, if there's any questions, there's any worries, if you're already started out and you want some guidance or you want some tips or anything like that, please hit me up on DMs. I do try and check my requests and go through them, but if I haven't replied, just drop me a comment on one of my photos and just say, can you please check your DMs, or just comment on this video, check your DMs, and I'll go on there straight away, and I'll make sure I reply. But other than that, I hope that kind of clarifies how to start modelling / get into it, some pointers. I'll leave all the links in the description to make sure that everything has kind of given you a pathway to get better. You will, when you sign with an agency, before I forget, flip it upside down, get a book. So they will ask you to do test shoots. Initially they might ask you to pay for some, they might cover some, completely depends. I do, if you are really passionate about getting into modelling, I do really suggest that you invest some money in getting your book done. Be very careful, because I know a few people message me online about people trying to charge £500 for a book. There's a lot of shady stuff out there, so just make sure you sit down with an agency in person, say, look, can you sort of test shoot? I'll happily pay for one. See if you can negotiate them covering one, and then you paying for one, and then inside, I hope it's not going to be too blurry, you'll have your book, yeah? So you'll have a little card like this that you'll take to castings, and you'll give these to clients when you're going to castings, and inside here will just be all your test shoot photos. So you give this to the client when you go in, and then they will give you everything that you need. You just pop it on the table, give them the card. And yeah, I nearly forgot about this. So castings, I was about to wrap the video up. I'll be really quick with this. Castings are like a 10 to 1 minute job interview. You don't really get to explain much. You go in, introduce yourself, hello, blah blah blah, I'm with Nevs, etc. Here's my card, here's my book. They'll probably ask you to try on some clothes and then do some shots, or they'll just take some in your normal clothes, just some headshots. In that split second, obviously your look is a big importance to whether they book you, but you've got such a short window to make a first impression. So make sure when you go in there, smile, stand up straight, be confident, ask how their day is, ask if they've been busy. When you leave, say it would be a pleasure, hopefully see you in the future. Just leave a lasting impression in that really short snippet of time that you've got with them. That's really important. And then the other thing about modelling in regards to obviously mental health and mindset, I can't tell you how many castings I've been to that I was confident that I would get that I didn't. And I can't tell you how many castings I went to that I didn't feel my best or feel like I didn't look my best and I got. So you've got to understand that sometimes if you don't, because you don't get much feedback, if any, in this industry when you go to a casting and you don't get it, you just don't get the job. So they'll just say, oh, you asked, I don't know, I didn't hear anything back. Well, they've gone with someone else. You'll never get, oh, they've gone with someone else because they were slightly taller or this. There's nothing. So you need to just understand that if they didn't pick you, they didn't pick you. It weren't for you. Happy days. Like, move on. Go to the next casting. Go to the next casting. You might go to 10 castings and get nothing, but you can't go to the 11th casting with an attitude that the 10 didn't work out, so this one's not going to work out either. You need to really go to every single casting, no matter what, and think, I believe in myself. Something's coming, and always have that belief system. So, yeah, be mentally strong, especially in the castings in the early start of the career. But yeah, I hope that kind of gives you a top to bottom of how to start a modelling career, high to lows, tax setup, etc. If I've missed anything, I can do a part 2 to this. Hit me up in the comments and let me know. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope this helped, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Like, comment and subscribe.